Hello again, and welcome back to another edition of the Wiccan Conservative. With impeachment getting stale, I thought I would transition into a different topic today and explain what being a Wiccan has to do with being a conservative to me. I do a lot of posting on social media, not only on my own pages, but I comment a lot on conservative sites, and most of the time, my opinions fall in line with traditional conservatism and are generally well accepted. But sometimes my religion seems to come out, or people read the title of my channel, and I am questioned on how a witch can be a conservative. I do relish these inquiries because it gives me the opportunity to correct Hollywood misconceptions of witches and also explain the different types of witches and how Wicca is separate from witchcraft in general. But I was posed a question in my channel discussion page that asked how the conservative base reacts to my beliefs, and I thought, since the impeachment's getting old, I would go ahead and answer that question today instead. So the first thing that I want to point out when my religion comes into question is the fact that a lot of pagan holidays and traditions follow closely to your typical Christian or Catholic customs, because a lot of those customs are based in pagan worship. Wiccans follow the Wheel of the Year, starting with Samhain or Halloween and ending with Yule or Christmas as you know it. We celebrate the birth and death of the earth and actually consider Yule to be the time after the winter solstice where the light is coming back to the earth. So we welcome the return of life in spring. It's similar to celebrating the birth of Christ, if you will. So the next comparison that I always make is the Wiccan Rede or the Rule of Three. It is very closely related to the Golden Rule. Ours states that what thou dost give comes back to thee times 3. Well, that segues into a comparison to the Holy Trinity of Catholicism. 3 is an important number to witches as well. It symbolizes the maiden, the mother, and the crone, and the cycles of the year with birth, harvest, and death, and it also represents past, present, and future. The representation of our religion is very similar to Catholicism and Christianity, yet it doesn't narrow our worship so strictly. Most witches will pay homage to gods and goddesses and acknowledge the symbiotic relationship between men and women and how they need each other to live. So since most of our customs and traditions can compare, I get along well with other conservative groups. Wiccans tend to value all life. We like the trees, we like the earth, we like the plants and animals and bugs and everything that is living on the planet Earth. I said, we were persecuted by a strict church following, and we were feared during the early years of our country. So my beliefs align pretty well with what the Constitution was written for. Being a conservative to me means something a little bit different than what it means to your traditional conservative. I found that when I am asked this question, I always give the same answer. I am a conservative because I'm conserving the original intent of the Constitution, that all men are created equal. We all have the natural right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as long as it doesn't infringe upon another's pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. And I feel that if these words are not protected, I may find myself under circumstances similar to those in Salem. So religious persecution was one of the biggest reasons why we fled Great Britain, and the tyranny of the king was to come to America and worship freely. So aside from all of that, conservatism to me is also about how we make our laws, how we make our budget, and the extension of government. When it comes down to government spending, I am fiscally conservative, and I truly believe, that we are not only spending too much money, but we are spending money on things that the government has no business spending money on. And that ties into government overreach. And this is where most conservatives and I tend to have our biggest disagreements. Where I do value life, I am a Darwinist at heart. And I do believe that to evolve is to be as independent and self-sufficient as possible. So one cannot be free if they depend on another for survival. And humanitarianism and socialistic programs tend to turn the tide of what would otherwise be great conversations and interactions with traditional conservatives, because I just don't feel that the government should be babysitting or taking control of what another person does with their life, their own religious liberties, and their own pursuit of happiness. So I get called a lot of, weird names, and being told that I'm cold-hearted and I don't understand what conservatism is really about. But my thoughts are pretty open, and I try my best to rationalize my thinking so that I'm not hypocritical when I speak about my beliefs, and that I can put my words into action. I try to teach my daughters the same, and I encourage everyone I interact with to do the same. And typically that keeps me in good standing with conservatism and people with the same type of values, but who worship differently than I do. I never go above and beyond to express my religious beliefs beyond what's questioned, but sometimes I feel that people read too far into a title. So, in conclusion, I hope that clears up the seemingly paradoxical title of my channel, and I hope that I've given you some information that you may not have known. I wanted to say thank you to all the new subscribers that came in. The person that brought up this discussion in the first place. I hope this answers your question as to how I get along with other conservatives. Thank you all for the subscribing, commenting, sharing, liking my videos. I'm so lucky to be able to talk to such a supportive, open-minded group of people. And I'm so grateful to do what I enjoy doing, and that's speak my mind and my truth and educate other people about topics that are going on in the world, whether that means I am worshiping as you worship or not worshiping as you worship, or whatever the case may be. I appreciate all the support, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you like it, share the videos if you can, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.